given that we know that there was quite a big number of Republicans who were planning to defy him completely and to vote to release the files in the vote that is scheduled for today, it seems much more likely that Trump wanted to get out on the front foot and to not be, caught being embarrassed by losing such a crucial vote and instead make it look, in as much as is possible, like it's something that he is giving them permission to do.
Now, every Tuesday we head to the United States to find out what's happening in Washington, where Lara Spirit is, of course, our woman cartwheeling through the corridors of power. Hello, Lara.
Hi, Hugo.
Good to have you with us, as always. Let's begin with Donald Trump's abrupt U-turn on releasing the remaining Epstein investigation files. He's now encouraging Congress to release everything, saying he and the Republican Party have nothing to hide.
We have nothing to do with Epstein. The Democrats do. All of his friends were Democrats. You look at this Reid Hoffman, you look at Larry Summers, Bill Clinton, they went to his island all the time, and many others. They're all Democrats.
Lara, what's going on here? How's he gone from being somebody who first did want them released to somebody who didn't want them released to someone who does again? Has he found out something that we don't know? Does he feel in the clear, or is he just playing the political defensive?
I think it's much more likely that he knows that it was a nailed-on certainty almost that he was going to lose the vote this week in the House over releasing the Epstein files. Of course, it was only recently that he was summoning one of those Republicans who was on the fence about releasing the files to the White House Situation Room to meet with his FBI director, the Attorney General, in a bid to persuade them not to vote for the release of the files. And then on Sunday, as you heard, he changed course in a very abrupt reversal and said that he had nothing to hide and urged Republicans to vote to release them. But given that we know that there was quite a big number of Republicans who were planning to defy him completely and to vote to release the files in the vote that is scheduled for today, it seems much more likely that Trump wanted to get out on the front foot and to not be, caught being embarrassed by losing such a crucial vote and instead make it look, in as much as is possible, like it's something that he is giving them permission to do.
Will he know what's in them? Will anyone at this stage know what's in them? Like, does he know that this isn't going to sort of set off a bomb under his career?
I mean, that's a really good question because we have obviously had a huge amount of focus in recent months on figures like Pam Bondi, who's, of course, the Attorney General, who was the figure who famously said the files were sitting on her desk. And then there was that whole controversy in which she said that actually, basically there was no such thing as the client list. And there was a massive controversy about just how much she knew, for example, as indeed there was about how much these figures had told Trump about what was likely to be in these files. We do know that Trump ordered an investigation last week on Friday by the Justice Department into Democrat figures and donors who may have connections to Epstein and be featured in the files. That's pretty interesting because it doesn't necessarily suggest that he thinks that there'll be a great tranche of material that's in there that is capable of incriminating figures that perhaps he politically disagrees with. But some are suggesting that it may well mean that it complicates the actual release of the files. That's a suggestion by some like Thomas Massey, a kind of maverick Republican who's pushing for the release of the files and has been a thorn in Trump's side for some time. And so whether or not that does complicate how these files come out and in what form, that remains to be seen. But we still, I should say, Hugo, have a little bit of a journey towards actually seeing the full release of the files, because even though it is likely to pass the House, it still faces tough odds in the Senate. Obviously, it remains to be seen what Trump's sort of half endorsement of releasing the files does to those numbers. But he has now said, he said sure when he was asked if he would sign that into law. That was a big unknown earlier on in the week. But, all could change. And I think we're just waiting to see exactly what happens.
There's already been, of course, a huge political fallout among his base. One of the former Trump loyalists who's been most vocal about the release of the files is Marjorie Taylor Greene, and she's now escalated that row by saying Donald Trump has escalated her life, has endangered her life, rather. Is this like a fight that's going to mend, do you think?
I mean, I listened to Marjorie Taylor Greene on Sunday on CNN, where she said that she believes in forgiveness. She said that she still, supports the Republicans. Republicans. She supports Trump. She wants to see the Trump administration do well and succeed. But I think it's very hard to see the escalation in attacks between her and President Trump in recent days, and to assume that that relationship is going to mend. I mean, Trump calling her a ranting lunatic, dubbing her a traitor, is clearly quite strong language. And I think even when pressed on, as you mentioned there, her comments, which suggested that she now feels that these threats are putting her life and her family's life in danger, he said, I don't think her life is in danger. Frankly, I don't think anybody cares about her. And I think it's not just her criticism of Trump on the Epstein files, which is what she attributes to the breakdown in their relationship. And we should say that Trump says that they've fallen out because he discouraged her from running for the Senate, showing her polling that suggested that she might not win. She says that's not true. It's also because she's been very critical of Trump on things like affordability. She said she wants to see him spend less time negotiating deals with foreign leaders and more time focusing on domestic issues. That's, of course, a sore spot because we had those difficult election results recently for Trump and the Republicans in states like New Jersey and Virginia, and also on other sticky questions like America's support for Israel, for example. She's also been striking a position that is very different from the president. So she's been moving away from him in a number of different areas. And for that reason, I think it is quite difficult to see, Epstein aside, how this pair come back together.
Yeah, sure. Moving on a bit, Donald Trump has told a female journalist to quiet Piggy after she asked him about the Epstein files during a flight on an Air Force One on Friday. It's a little difficult to make out, but let's have a listen to this. Yeah, that took place last week. The clip's being circulated this week. One political organisation has described the comments as a disgusting moment. Lara, does anyone care about this kind of stuff anymore when Donald Trump says mean things, especially to women? It seems very, very 2016.
I think people do. I think people do care. I think, as is often the case with Trump, there is so much news and so much content and such a volume of comments coming from him on an array of different topics that it can be quite hard to focus on particular remarks. But I would say this one was pretty well noticed in Washington.
Yeah, indeed. Thank you very much indeed. That is Lara Spirit there. Good to have you with us as always.
Something you posted on Truth Social last night. You urged House Republicans to vote in favor of this Epstein release bill they're going to vote on tomorrow. I just want to be super clear on your position. Do you want to see that pass the Senate? Would you sign that bill if it gets to your desk?
I do want to. Here's what I want. We have nothing to do with Epstein. The Democrats do. All of his friends were Democrats. You look at this Reid Hoffman, you look at Larry Summers, Bill Clinton, they went to his island all the time, and many others. They're all Democrats. All I want for people to recognize a great job that I've done on pricing, on affordability, because we brought prices way down, but they're going way lower, on energy, on ending 8 wars and another one coming pretty soon, I believe. We've done a great job. And I hate to see that deflect from the great job we've done. So I'm all for it. You know, we've already given 50,000 pages. You do know that. Unfortunately, like with the Kennedy situation, with the Martin Luther King situation, not to put Jeffrey Epstein in the same category, but no matter what we give, it's never enough. You know, with Kennedy, we gave everything and it wasn't enough. With Martin Luther King, we gave everything and it's never enough. We've already given, I believe the number is 50,000 pages, 50,000 pages. And it's just a Russia hoax as it pertains to the Republicans. Now, I believe that some of the people that we mentioned are being looked at very seriously for their relationship to Jeffrey Epstein, but they were with him all the time. I wasn't at all. And we'll see what happens. What I just don't want Epstein to do is detract from the great success of the Republican Party, including the fact that the Democrats are totally blamed for the shutdown. You know, they cost our country hundreds of billions of dollars with that, at a lot of inconvenience. So I'm for I don't, they can do whatever they want. We'll give them everything. Sure I would. Let the Senate look at it, let anybody look at it. But don't talk about it too much because honestly, I don't want to take it away from us. It's really a Democrat problem. The Democrats were Epstein's friends, all of them. And it's a hoax. The whole thing is a hoax. And I don't want to take it away from really the greatness of what the Republican Party has accomplished over the last period of time. Yeah,
Mr. President, on a